So, folks, we've had an interesting week that had come upon me last week. I'll talk a little bit about that here on the show, and a couple things that kind of popped up in the news as of late. We're going to just wing it, and we're going to look at. I'm looking at a screen of mine. We're going to look at some questions that may come in from our external audience. But I do want to say, all of our listeners around the world, we know what you're seeing out there. We know that you're expressing some concern because you're seeing what you consider from overseas as your president, Donald Trump, appearing to be on the sidelines. And I will tell you this, you can rest assured that what you see is still an ongoing military operation. It is the fact that there is a great awakening going on. And most people do not understand that there was never a timeline or deadline on when the Great Awakening had reached such a fever pitch, whereby the powers that be, the alliance powers who have stripped power from the cabal, at least on the grand scale, where they can back them into a corner as they facilitate them committing their own suicide, enough to wake the world up, that this thing will carry out to its final and ultimate conclusion. So I'm talking to people around the world from different countries. I had one of my friends today or yesterday reach out from Hong Kong, expressing some real sadness and sorrow for what is happening to Hong Kong, perpetuated on that city, that nation, by the CCP. And I said in past that we have to separate both of these entities, the CCP and China, because there's a lot of good people in China. The CCP is the satanic order, is that faction of the Khazarian mafia. They just happen to change nationalities. They happen to change names. They've morphed once again in this era into a whole new beast that Satan creates as he continues his path to try to destroy and conquer humanity, something that will end up as a miserable failure as the righteous drop down on the planet. Humanity decides they're going to take control of their own lives, take responsibility, raise their vibration by the way they think, the way they talk, the way they walk, and the conscious thoughts that they provoke that go out into the universe and shift that balance of power away from the Luciferian order that it's done nothing but slaughter humanity on this planet on an ongoing basis in every fashion, from disease to starvation to raping these nations, wealthy nations, of their natural resources through the war power of the British Crown worldwide for so long that we can't even remember a world where there ever was peace. These are the things that have been brought down systematically and systemically throughout the world by this military power, where Trump served as the tip of the spear in a military intelligence operation to wake the world up, to show you people that this ruling power that has installed its leaders, not your leaders, its leaders in every government worldwide, these people are nothing but scumbags. These are the people who have rained down hell on humanity. They've told you for year after year, decade after decade, that they were going to solve the problems of your state, of your country, of the world, of your counties, of your cities. And what do you get? You get more of the same, only times two. That's what's been perpetuated on humanity forever. Now what we are seeing in the last 4 years are dynamics that have never happened in the United States or around the world. Middle East peace deals, pushing back on this insanity. These groups that go into from the former White Houses go in and negotiate these trade deals that are set up to ensure that you lose, the other country that they made the deal with, their people lose, and the only people that ever win are all the people that are involved in cutting these deals behind the scenes, which are always the politicians. Always the politicians. Now, again, I'm going to preface, or I should say come up in the back end, and I'm going to give my due respect to some of those politicians who are actually working for the good guys. I understand you have an almost insurmountable task. You're trying to turn or change or help or guide a corrupt machine from the inside. Unfortunately, you don't have the benefit of pushback from the honeypots that are used on you, or in fact, that shouldn't be anything that overcomes you anyways if you're committed to your family. But there are instances where these people go to parties in DC and they have things put in their drinks. They get in odd situations. They throw them in a room. They throw in a woman or a child or whatever, and then they photograph them, and now they have them. That's the way Washington, D.C. works, and that's why back in 2006 or 4, during a campaign that I was managing, and I was approached about running for a certain district in Congress, and I refused because even though it was my dream, that I knew once I got inside the Beltway, they were going to exit me out fast, or they would do something really bad that would corner me, and I wasn't worried about that. I would just say, fork off, I'm out of here, see you, you guys are all scumbags, while I'm pulling the curtain wide open to show them what the Democrats really are, to show them what the Republicans and the Republican Party really is. That was my intention. That was my dream over the long haul. But fortunately for me, I was rescued from that nightmare of having to step inside that Beltway into that sewer that does nothing but breed rats and traitors and thieves and continue to screw the American people and the people around the world who are affected by the war machine, by the corner of the triangle, Washington, D.C., the military wing of the Khazarian mafia that's perpetuated hell on earth around the world and has caused real psychological damage to some of the most heroic and noble and admirable people on the planet, and that is the U.S. warfighter. And over the last couple of days, I've been talking to a number of these special operators, special forces, Army, Navy, Delta Force guys, or those guys are the ones that are hidden, but Navy SEALs. And we've been talking about some of the things that I'm thinking is important for America and the world to regain its dignity. And that's to bring these people, these trained leaders, into a different battlefield. And that's a battlefield of influence where we can have these folks come to the lower level levers of power, whether it be a school board or be a county commission, whatever it is in the lower levels, and get involved locally. We're going to talk about Operation Restoration. A lot of work to do with that. I think here in the pretty near future, we'll be in a position to forward these initiatives such as that, and also pick up the ball again on the Global Unity Bridge. We have to complete that mission as well. Just so you know, folks, we've been overrun with activity and a lot of things that have happened since we launched, I guess we call it the Patriot Street Fighter Revolution, which truly was an accident. It was a live stream. My friend Jim basically drugged me off the bench to do a Zoom meeting once, and for his friends after the election, it seemed to ease people's fears, decided to just start live streaming those messages, and of course it did what it did, and brought a lot more people into the conversation. But these are initiatives that we started. For me, it was truly amateur hour. I wasn't prepared for what came at me. We did our best to get some aligned with some lateral architecture, parallel architecture, and bring people into that. But there will be more work that comes into creating the bridging effect for the Global Unity Bridge. I think that's as important as initiatives like Operation Restoration, where the new mission for military people, especially high-level special operators, is to help restore the country. I think that the special operations community, because the high regard they're held in, the reverence that society feels for these people, that's the ticket that gets punched very quickly in any of these meetings when they stand up at any of these school board meetings or addresses any of these people that continue to do nothing good for their communities. The ridiculous spending, the insane education policies in these school districts, the lunacy that goes on at the city level by these city commissioners, city council members, all these people that get into these positions of power that couldn't run a fork in candy store. And it's just, I've watched this for so long and lost faith, but my faith has been regained, and I see great things coming in the future. After having conversations with a couple of these Navy SEALs, they're thinking the same thing. They're disgusted, coming to learn that as one of the guys that I've been speaking to feels like he was just a door kicker for these international bankers, the Bushes, the Cheneys, the Clintons, and anybody before that, or the Obamas. All the people say they don't want war. They come into power in the White House, and what do? They send home caskets and body bags to wonderful families around this country all in the name of what they call freedom. It's all been a lie. It always has been a lie. These people have always been full of shit. And it wasn't until one man stood against the tide and the tempest of this bullshit machine, the mainstream media called all of them out for what they are. First time we've ever seen it. And that, of course, ignited a global revolution of love for one man, even surpassing Ronald Reagan's rise and his draw of the people worldwide as a true leader in the world stage. So once that bore a movement worldwide, a wake-up call to the world to show them that their leaders worldwide, doesn't matter if it's the Vatican, if it's the British Crown or the royal families around the world, the heads of state, past presidents up until President Trump, once between him and John F. Kennedy was Ronald Reagan. Other than that, these people have all been deep state criminals that are owned by the central bankers and all the people that have kept their boot heel on the back of the neck of humanity while we're face down in the mud trying to fight our way out. And I am still in a firm position of believing, from what I'm seeing and what I know in my soul, the operation continues. I explained this a couple of times. I'll do it here again. Most people put a timeline on when they want to see things happen. I'm not worried about people's timelines. I'm not worried about their impatience. I would say to most of you who were saying it to me today, when's this going to happen? When's this going to happen? They need to do something now. My response to you is, where were you for the last 25 years when a number of us have been sounding the alarm bells? When are you going to wake up? When are you going to do something useful? When are you going to stop bitching and get on the playing field and start helping rescue the country? When? And most people realize that nobody gets easy quarter, if any, here on the tipping point, because I finally got to a point where it broke. I became fed up. I'm done listening to this bullshit. I'm done listening to complaining from people. When Americans bitch, but they won't go out and vote. Americans will bitch. They won't go out and work campaigns. They won't get in the ditches of knocking on doors and putting out door hangers and, oppositional party residents in the area, like not spitting in your face, but verbally, whatever. Those are the things that take to win elections. Unfortunately, the Republican Party, the people that are in the Republican Party don't want to do that because they're way too good. But let's face it, the Democrats are worms. Many of these people are worms. They will climb through the sludge and the dirt, and they'll keep moving forward until they work their way into some position somewhere, become a staffer. I've watched this for years. Watched it. I said, there's no way I ever get to DC until I create enough wealth so no man owns me. And my business profile has to be the launch pad for name recognition, or I've done well enough responsibly in the business world that somebody would trust me to represent them. Democrats, not all of them. There's some good Democrats out there, but the vast majority, what I've just watched unbelievably incapable people I wouldn't trust my piggy bank to, just hang on. And they hang on and they hang on forever. They just keep kissing ass. It's kind of like going to Hollywood, and nothing against the many brilliant people to go to Hollywood. But, I got a friend of mine who became vice president of current series TV at NBC, one of the best people I've ever known, still is, but with a Harvard or Yale and a Brown, a degree from Yale and Brown, had to start in the mailroom, right? You got to start in their mailroom, and you got to do all that bullshit because that comes with a program to work your way into a position of influence and power and a career that, was certainly a stellar rise and a great career. But take that away from the world of Hollywood and put it in the political realm, and all you need to do is mix in a lot of mud and a bunch of toxic stuff and create some sludge. And now you got the world of politics. It's amazing because those people there will stab each other in the back. They'll do anything to be in a position of power. Case in point, look at Anthony Weiner.